Hey guys, how's it going? And today I wanted to answer this question. In fact, this is the reason why I started this channel, but I wanted to answer the question of, how much money do you need to retire and what is enough? So, I did a little bit of research on this and, the answer truly is it's up to you, it depends. And the reason I say that is because everybody's different. Everybody has different lifestyle choices. Everybody has different kind of wants and needs. And it really depends on many, many factors that you have to factor in. Now, in this video, I want to actually show you about some empirical evidence that kind of backs into a particular number. Also, I also do want to tell you that it is really dependent upon certain things that you have to categorize. And that's the basis of this video today. But first, obviously, there's a couple of buttons down below. You know what to do, but if you don't need a reminder, hit that like button. Also hit that subscribe. Let's get into it. What is the number to retire? Well, it turns out that the true number is 4%. Now, how did I come up with that? Well, I didn't. It actually comes from an empirical study called the Trinity study. It's from Trinity University, and it was, I think, a basis of a study of over 30 years. And it basically shocked a particular portfolio asset allocation of what it requires to be able to retire. So this particular asset allocation was a 50-50 fixed income equity type blend. And if you withdraw 4% of the portfolio every year, you will have in 96% of the time, or 96 probability, have enough money within 30 years that it won't deplete. So what does that mean? Well, basically, if you take your monthly expenses, right, everything we'll go through now, and divide that by 0.04, that is the amount of money that you need to be able to retire. Everything is based upon your lifestyle choices. If you want to live like a king and just every day eat steak and everything like that, well, you could be living a lifestyle where you won't actually have enough money. If you actually save way too much money, you actually may be saving more for your inheritance than you actually will be for yourself. And that's not such a bad thing. Nonetheless, it's a very simple kind of categorization, itemization, as well as prioritization. So you need to take what are your clear expenses. Now keep in mind, if you're 30 years old, you're not going to have the same expenses as you are like where I am at 51. And at 51, I'm certainly not going to have the same type of categorization of expenses as somebody at 71. But I think there's some constants that we can kind of take into effect for everyone. And they are, you need basics like housing, food, more importantly, as you get older, healthcare, very, very important. There's other things as well, like, for example, transportation. There's, depending on where you live, it could be something where you need a lot of fuel for. The other thing also is like, what do you want to do with your discretionary money? Do you want to actually be traveling a lot more, spending all that money in places where you want to enjoy it? Well, you got to factor those types of things in. Come up with that budget and come up with an average budget. For me, the biggest concern, and I didn't actually know this until I learned a little later, was that healthcare is actually a very big issue. You have to have very, very good healthcare. And as you get older, Medicare may not be able to help you as much, but your premiums will go up far more when you do get older. So let's talk a little bit about the Trinity study. Well, in this chart below, you'll see that this has been tiered out, and the numbers on in the X needs is the probability that you will have that amount of money if you were to spend at a certain kind of spending rate. Now, coming up with the savings number, that is the journey. And we'll go through a lot of those things. Personally, I actually want to save a lot of money for my heirs. I want to save it for my son and daughter, as well as their children. I won't even go into the politics right now. This is being filmed in July 2021. There's a lot of things going on economically that have just been crazy. I think anybody who's looking at this video, let's say from a year from now, will know that COVID was a big thing that really affected many things in our economy. And we are actually experiencing a degree of inflation that I think is going to really shock everyone's investment portfolio, whether you're retiring or whether it's your discretionary accounts, as we go through some of the more videos in this series. But again, as you're getting older, think about minimizing your... Hey guys, so sorry I had to switch locations and redo a portion of this video, but thanks for watching. Sorry the video may be a little jarring. And also sorry for the noise, there's a bunch of kids here at the swimming pool. So what I want to tell you a bit about the 4% rule is, it's just a rule of thumb. Everybody's got different situations, as we've discussed a little bit, but the most important thing about it is, when you start categorizing all the things in your required spending limits and budget, keep in mind that one of the portions that you should be thinking about as you enter into retirement is there should be an absence of debt. Now, I can go into many, many things and to be discussed later, but take a listen to Dave Ramsey. He's not endorsing me or anything like that, but he has a wealth of information on his show about debt reduction. I mean, the whole concept that he's trying to prove about steps for anybody for retirement as well as for financial prosperity is reducing debt entirely. Debt is an expense, it's a liability, and it should never be considered an asset. Now, I do want to tell you about one thing that's happening right now in this economy. In fact, I was just listening today on a podcast from the Wall Street Journal, and because of the pandemic, banks cannot recoup their interest income because there's just so much money flooding the markets, everybody's flush with cash. So what the banks are doing, in fact, is they're lending or actually printing credit cards back to the 2008 period when we had the credit crisis. In fact, what they called it was the subprime market. Those words actually, when I heard that, just made me perk up. Please, whatever you're doing as a form of your analysis for retirement, do not incur debt. So by the time you are needing to start looking at those categories of absolute expenses versus discretionary expenses, credit card debt and mortgage payments should not be part of that, as well as a car loan. So the 4% number is just a benchmark, it's just a rule of thumb. Everybody's situation is going to be different. Thanks for watching this video. I really hope you learned something from it. Again, hit that like and subscribe button, and we'll see you in the next one.